Well, hello, Lana. How are you today?
Hello, Dwayne. I'm doing really well today. What about you?
I'm doing good. Doing good, yes. Um, I wanted to interview you today about what it is that you're doing with women and assisting women with with the relationship with themselves. You're doing some phenomenal work and really, really insightful and deep understandings are coming through in your work as well. I hear a lot of good, positive feedback from it as in the world. So, uh, what what got you into doing this? What was the trigger for you that sparked you into wanting to help women this way?
That's a great question. Yeah, it actually started a long, long time ago when I was a student in Ukraine. So originally I'm from Ukraine. You can hear my accent. I can get rid of it. So it started a long time ago in Ukraine when, by beautiful synchronicity, this work just arrived to me. Relationship work. So I started to work as an interpreter for couples who, like cross-cultural couples who wanted to get to know each other, and they were really serious, like creating families, basically. So it was some kind of marriage agency a long time ago. It was in 90s, and I started as an interpreter, but that work was so deep because basically I was intermediate between two people who wanted to get to know each other on an intimate level. So I started this way, and then it evolved in actually helping them to create a happy relationship and build a bridge of understanding first between two cultures and then between men and women. And organically, I found myself, you know, being really good with that. Like I received an amazing feedback. Even I was very young, and I was still in the university. I didn't even get my first degree, but I found out that organically, by nature, the skills I have, the way I'm born, I'm able to help people because what I found out that I could just step back, my ego, my personality could just step back and be present in the moment and be like this. Uh, like a wire to transmit the energy, to transmit the information, and also adjust them so they to remove any kind of obstacles or any doubts. So this holding this space and helping them to connect. So that was very powerful, and the best feedback I received at that time. I remember this man wrote to me, say, thank you so much for like helping me to overcome all my doubts and fears about my relationship with Tatiana. Now we have a baby, we have a happy family. And he said, I was skydiving at the time. He said, Lana, God bless your parachute. And that was like so powerful for me because I felt, wow, that's something very big, that I made a difference in somebody's life. There's a baby is born in like happy family. So that was the beginning. So it was like
Yes,
an
yes,
opening for me. It came to me. It kind of
yeah,
chose, my path chose me,
yeah.
So that was the beginning. And these days, I've done so much work on my own relationship and my own consciousness work, inner work, expanded states of consciousness, breath work. It really opened up new gates for me of understanding who we are, why we're here, about evolution of human consciousness, and how we can start with ourselves first on our individual path to evolve to the place where we can actually move to the next level, and
Just
more.
like you did.
Yeah.
And you didn't even know, but you started doing something that opened up, even though you were a translator at the time, but it opened up an avenue for you
Mm-hmm.
that you began to discover your own gifts that you
Mm-hmm.
came in here with. Now you're teaching, high spiritual teachings to these people. That was always within you. It just needed a trigger to get it out, right?
Yeah. So the universe was guiding me. It was more about listening, being open, paying attention in the moment, because everything is happening in the moment. So I was just following that guidance, and eventually it brought me here. And I chose to work with women because I do believe that the whole planet is going through transformational process, and it's
Yeah.
very accelerated transformation right now, because we all experience turbulence in our individual life and in the bigger scale and the collective level, and so many people become aware right now. That makes me so happy that they have to do their inner work first. In order to change anything in their own lives, they need to do their inner work first. And they want to change relationship, they need to do inner work first, the
Yeah.
relationship with self, the relationship, the connection with the divine consciousness, right? So that makes me really happy, and I feel there is a big shift in
It
this
is.
area, right? And when it comes to relationship, we also transform the way we relate to each other in
Mhm.
different levels. But if we take like romantic relationship between men and women, it also is transforming, because from we're stepping back, we're stepping out of the cultural conditioning, like
Yes.
social stereotypes, all these limiting beliefs, and we understand that we don't need anything. We just have this connection. It's energy that matters. And if we drop all the judgments, all the right and wrongs, this is when we can really enjoy and build really authentic relationship, the way we really want from our inside our hearts, not what they say we should have, right?
I like what you said. Energy matters
Mhm.
because energy ends up becoming matter.
Yeah.
And energy, we get away from this concept I heard you mention before of of thinking about the things you should be or should do, and get
Mm-hmm.
back into the vibration of what it is. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
it's energy that actually creates matter.
Yeah.
Energy matters, right? Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there because it was so pertinent, right? And what you're
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah. And it all resonates with your work as well when I listen to your uh, trainings and watch your videos. It totally resonates with your teachings as well, because yeah, everything is energy, and Einstein already proved it. So people like get caught in this scientific resistance, but even science have proved that, right? We now looking at quantum mechanics, Einstein's work. It's already there. Like energy is matter,
Tesla.
matter is energy. It's going back and forth, and basically at the end there is only energy. And I believe it is what we call, the source energy, the divine consciousness. It's there, the universe, whatever you call it.
And it's another reality that has been suppressed by something on top of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that something on top of it has that suppression of the real life, the real magic, the real energy. This is where I should be something, I should be, but yet the vibration is underlying, like you're talking about. It's there. If we
Mm-hmm.
get rid of this top programming that's going on, we let it go, right? I
Mm-hmm.
remember in a video you shared in detail about this thing about fighting, this fighting thing. Who's the winner in the relationship, and this, thing that goes on. I've seen it so many times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, one will say to the other, and it doesn't matter because it's happening on both ends of the stick. But see, I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is wanting to be right. That's wanting to be, there's a fight going on there rather
Mm-hmm.
than an energy and a vibration. Very insightful things that you're bringing forward and getting people aware of this fight that goes on and to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, I work in the area of looking at this split that happened, right? What is this split that happened between men and women? That they're sitting there, here defending and fighting, and yes, there's history, yes, there's whatever. But the thing with it is that the past can never define us. We only have to step in this now moment and create something new if we're ever going to change it, right? Because focusing on the past is only regenerated the same thing over again, like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And so this fighting that goes on between men and women, that's something else, isn't it? Like it's on us, even on a core, like a deep level, where there's this fight, a shiv between men and women.
Yeah, it is huge. And before I started to really work on this level that I work right now, I didn't even realize myself how big this wound, how big and bloody this wound between men and women, how like lack of trust, lack of love, acceptance, understanding, it's just so big. And I to be honest with you, I was not aware of that because I'm born with both my masculine and feminine very balanced. So if I get my soul switches the body, I will be totally fine being a man. On the soul level, we don't have gender. The gender only, manifests when we incarnate in the physical form, physical body. And there's something to learn there, something to explore, but we're just so resistant to accept another side. So I see my work and myself as a coach with the relationship. I see myself as a bridge between masculine and feminine, and building this bridge of the energy, of pure energy, without any conditioning. So everybody who chooses to work with me, they have to drop all the conditioning. They have to be ready to say, okay, I'm committed to this work. I'm committed to drop everything that doesn't serve me, everything that, creates any kind of obstacle to find that harmony, authenticity, and true connection, energetic connection.
So there's this ultimate relationship that everybody's after here, but over here is all of the, well, I'm supposed to be this, I'm supposed to be that, I'm supposed to be whatever, and it's got nothing to do with the ultimate relationship. And this you can only reach by going within and balancing your own masculine and feminine inside, because we were born of both a mother and a father. We have both, right?
Yeah.
And finding that harmony here is going to bring them that great desire to have that ultimate relationship, but they can never seem to get there because they're still playing in a program, mental program, a psychological program that doesn't allow this to happen unless they let go of that programming and step into what is true. And that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. We bring ourselves in this no exit situation when we play these games, when we play power games with each other, like winning and losing in the relationship. And there is always a reason to fight. You can always find the reason. You can always put it in a different story. So there are thousands and millions of stories, but the energy is the same. It's this fighting, like you say,
it's
right?
Corrupted. There's been a split put between the masculine and feminine within. And then we're fighting outside because of it. Really, that split, is inside. That's why we go inside to fix it.
Exactly. This is huge also in my work because part of the path of the journey that I take with my clients is actually connecting with your inner masculine. So I work mostly with women right now, and of course we do lots of work on the feminine, because the feminine in the bigger way, like in the collective journey of humanity, was suppressed for a long time. Feminine qualities, right? But as soon as we connect with that, we also do connect with inner masculine. and we're trying to find a way to have relationship, to heal relationship within ourselves between feminine and masculine, and really feel, okay, this is my masculine, and knowing yourself and knowing your inner masculine, like know yourself, right? And then knowing your feminine. And what is the relationship between your inner masculine and your feminine? That is actually mirrors into outside reality, according to the law of attraction. And this is what we get, So the relationship with our partner, with a man, actually mirrors our relationship between our inner masculine and inner feminine. And this is kind of something new for people to explore, because like, wow, I've never thought about that. But this is how it works. And then what we call a soulmate, for example, so many women, they really want to find that one man who is their soulmate, right? But the soulmate energy is exactly and identical to the energy of her inner masculine. She already has it inside. And this is what we do. Discover him inside. If you find him here, he will come to you in
exactly
reality.
And so let's just visit this a little bit, because I know that there was a shiv put in all human beings, a split. Okay, so that we would forever be in search of our other half externally. And that brought us into a place of disempowerment, complete disempowerment, which was planned so that we would never reach our natural evolution, right? And our natural evolution is to become gods and goddesses, and that was the natural evolution. But you can read about it. There was someone did hypnosis back when, hypnotized humanity and split them in two. Now, that they suggested was an external split, but really it was an internal split by males not accepting the feminine aspect of themselves. And this doesn't mean that they need to change gender. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that accepting the feminine aspect of themselves, that they are that too. And coming into that brings that for men too, that relationship, right? To love that feminine aspect of themselves, to embrace that that aspect of themselves. And the same for women, right? To embrace that masculine. We're undoing something that was done thousands of years ago to humanity as part of a suppression. Yeah, definitely. And you can see for men it can be even harder, because culturally, traditionally, man can't be in his feminine. He can't really explore that side, because you can't cry, you can be emotional, you can be this, mama's boy, whatever they call the names. If a man expresses any kind of vulnerability, like emotions, or being more like in his flow, right? All this intuition, right? It's was all very judged in the societies, in many cultures, during all these, thousands and thousands of years. So that actually created so much pain for a man to explore that side, and resistance, because he doesn't want to be judged or punished anyhow. So, and we're still carrying this genetic information of the collective consciousness, and even in the modern world, we're evolving, but it's still there in a very powerful way. If you take a look at it from a vibrational level, at certain frequencies or vibration, the thing that's being pushed at us right now is pushed at us through media, through everything, is an unnatural masculine and an unnatural feminine. In fact, the feminine that they're pressing us to look at right now is not even feminine. It's actually just a version of masculine. Exactly. I totally agree with this one. And
This is what
so,
feminism brought. It brought a masculine feminine, a woman who is in her masculine, so she can prove that she's, she can
yes, there's a fight.
herself. And that was appropriate maybe at that time, but
It
now it's
is.
changing. It's changing
Now it's
now.
changing. We have to come into this balance and come into the healing of it, right? Because it was
Yes,
really never outside, it was inside, right?
yes,
Uh,
yes.
it, this needs to heal. I don't for 1 minute say that there wasn't atrocities done, because there was, and there were many. And it was just absolutely horrid what took place. But in that in that splitting away, or that judging, or that taking away from the feminine aspect towards the male, they did more harm to themselves, and it was a trick within a trick.
Mm-hmm.
It was a curse within a curse, that they didn't even realize. They weren't smart enough yet to realize what that meant when they did that, and they separated inside themselves the feminine and shoved it to the corner and said, I am this and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And could do those things. You have to do some stuff inside of yourself in order to pull off those atrocities, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, it's
the curse within the curse is they didn't realize they were also separating half of themselves out, making
mm-hmm.
them a lot more controllable than they ever were before. A lot more, you know.
Yeah, there's a layers and layers of work, but
And it
like,
does get simple though, right? It does. There's layers and layers of work, but I don't want to imply that it can't be quick,
mm-hmm.
because all things shift with perception and a realization. Right?
Yeah, this is what I wanted to say, that there are layers of work, but we shouldn't get stuck in the processing mode, because this is what I see. So many people just get stuck in processing mode, and process and just
Yeah.
it's the same trap basically.
Yeah. It
Like,
is.
some people go to the therapist for 10 years and hardly anything changes, so it's a temporary relief. They go to the therapist, they release certain layer, or like certain like emotional, and then it comes back, and then they go release, and it comes back. So that's not the way it works. There should be not should be, but there can be a shorter way, a shortcut, but it
Yeah.
requires 100% commitment and
Yes.
100% responsibility for our own life, for our own connection, and believing that we do have direct connection to the source, and we do have our own guidance. So even if we were like, we would do need some support at the beginning, like working with a coach or with a teacher,
Yeah.
but that eventually it brings us to the place where we can see the truth ourselves, right? And we still need support. We can also, there's also a matter of support system. We can build support system where we,
Yes.
the community of people who understand this, what is going on, and we can support each other. This is also part of my program, where I teach people to build their own support system, so they don't need to go to the therapist for 10 years,
Yeah.
or to
Yeah.
work with a coach forever. It's not about that. It's about initial this, breakthrough, and then you create your own reality. You become powerful. This is all about.
Alan Watts said one time something very, very profound. He said there was only one sin, and the sin is that you won't admit you're God. And while people dance like around owning this, right? That it's a state of being.
Yeah.
Hermes at one time said, the only way to know God is to become God. We're at this pinnacle point in society the energies, the awakening, the return of the divine feminine, where it's time to step into who we are. Most of what we notice out there in the world is a bad case of chicken shititis. That's what I call it. People won't stand, people are afraid to step into that space inside of themselves where they know who they are, which is source energy itself. It's been called blasphemy, and it's been called that for a reason, so you never go there. Mm-hmm. The only way to know, and this isn't a religious thing, this is simply a birthright thing. We were all born equal to this, whatever you want to call it, source. And the games that people play to stay in avoidance of stepping in there is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But when you realize that and you call your own bluff and start stepping into what Lana's talking about here, what I'm talking about in the work I do, is you step into this and you're going to clean up thousands of years of programming in a short amount of time. And regular therapy can't wrap their head around it. That's how come you're not getting solutions and you have to go for 10 years, is because it's something that you need to step into and activate within yourself. It is something that you need to own and re-own again in yourself. And when you do that, you come into this energy that you can only describe by going through it and experiencing what that is. Because there is no words for coming into your own power. And it is power, and not power to control others. It's just your own power and your own dominion over your own reality. Mm-hmm. And it has a balance of masculine and feminine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm totally here with you about it. And I wanted to say something. I forgot. Because there are like each piece we can go with each piece and unfold something. I wanted to say that the reason why talking therapy doesn't help and people get stuck in the processing mode, because they can't really talk about something they're not aware of. We need awareness first, and we need experience, because there are certain things we can't explain with human language. Our human language also is not, it's not the most high vibrational language. This is what I found out exploring my own, expanded states of consciousness work through breath work. Especially I use lots of breath work that allows us to open the gates and see the reality in a bigger way, zoom out and change the angle of perception, shift that energy. It's like you can become, basically through this experience, you can become everything and anything. You can step in somebody else's energy and feel how they perceive reality. And that's what happened in my journey. Like, for example, with my partner, we can do the energy shifts. Like I become him, and this is how I know and understand him. And this is how we grow in relationship, because I know from inside how he feels, how he perceives, how he's wired. And that's not possible to explain with human words. That's why everything is experience. We have to experiential.
If you think about all of the knowledge that's out there, that's coming at and bombarding people every day, and how much wisdom do they have? Which is experience. None, because they're all watching it over the television. They're watching it over the computer screen. They're watching it, and they'll all say, I know this. I know it. Mm-hmm. You don't have a freaking clue unless you feel it, unless it becomes part of your experience. You see, it doesn't become wisdom until then, right? Mm-hmm. And so what you're talking about here, I think, is the fact that through breath work, you can gain the wisdom of having this relationship with your partner where you know how he feels. How many people out there who are married and been together and everything else even have a clue about what he feels or she feels inside? They haven't went to that level of relationship. They're too scared.
They don't even know it's possible.
They don't even know it's possible. Yes. What if you could? What if you could just step into that person's body and feel his feelings? It takes a much deeper level of trust than what is normally taught out there in the world, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a commitment of letting go everything that doesn't serve us, even if it's people. Some people are attached to their beliefs, they're attached to their culture, they attached to a certain religion, and this is what we need to let go in order to experience this pure connection with no judgment, no reference to all our cultural conditioning, because so much bullshit. And it, as you said, it can be really, it doesn't need to take a lot of time. It's a
No.
matter of how much you really want it. If this is a choice, if you choose it and say, I don't care what I learned from my early childhood and whatever my parents were suffering, grandparents, and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Woman. If we are ready to drop it, really, without
Yeah.
not faking it,
Yeah.
but really dropping it, then it's possible. Because then we waste so much energy on sustaining those old beliefs that don't work anymore and actually torture us from inside. We can use
And
this energy for pure connection and experience.
I like what you're saying here, because this is exactly it. When are we going to let go of all the stuff we hold on to that only repeats in time and keeps us in Groundhog Day? When are we going to let go of that and actually express who we are as an unbounded spirit,
Mm-hmm.
as
Yes.
the truth, as an unbounded? Okay, we're bound by our own past and our own past belief systems and our own past whatever. You know, yeah, I'm for going back in time and doing some inner child work, but it's got to
Mm-hmm.
be quick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sit there for years having them rehearse the same pain over and over again. It's like I know ways to help people pop out of that, do that very quickly, and get over it so they can get back to the present moment and finally unhook that draining past thing that keeps them repeating it. Right? Let go and be in the present moment, and let's go. Let's fly. Right? And I've seen people, honest to goodness, go from, not knowing, barely knowing any of this, to knowing it and now activating it and expressing it in a matter of a short amount of time. I get to
Mm-hmm.
see that a lot. I get to see the God within and the goddess within, right?
Yeah,
Come alive
exactly.
inside
It can
people.
happen in the moment, like it's just suddenly something clicks. It's like, and you feel it. It's like, I see. So it is internal. It's not a mental process, because we're so stuck here. And everything is thoughts, and we know
Yeah.
here, but then we know, and then we can apply. Nothing
Yeah, I
changes.
can't apply.
We know when we feel it through the body, through emotion.
Yes.
Emotion is energy. Mental helps because we're trained to want to know.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
trained in the society. We want to know, explain with our, rationally, intellectually. So that helps to kind of build that bridge. And then spiritual experience, not
yeah,
that's the direct connection to the source. This is when we receive guidance. This is when we listen to our own intuition. So
yeah.
all levels.
Sometimes, sometimes with sometimes with clients, they'll sit there and they go, "But I want to know why it happened to me. I
Yeah,
want to
it happens a lot.
I want to know why." And I go, "Okay, vibrationally, uh, if you go into the why it happened to you, and you want to go in there and figure it all out, you're going to be in the same vibration again, and it's going to recreate itself. So you tell me, do you want to know why, or do you want to just go ahead and move
Mhm.
forward?" Right? So sometimes curiosity kills the cat too. Right?
Well, the
Um,
problem is that people
with the
want to know
vibration.
why within their belief system. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
make sense to again go and find out why. Well, if you attach to the belief system that, for example, a man doesn't do something for you, like he doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
help you in the house. So he doesn't, send you good messages every day, like, or something. So you keep
That,
digging and keep
yeah.
rotating in the same process. So we do need to step out of that. We need to say,
Yeah.
hey, we want to know energetic reasons for that, because energetic reasons are very simple and they're very transparent once you get what it is. So when I work with my clients, we go, let's not talk about general love and trust and support. Everybody wants that, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to the situation. Let's go to the situation and see what is the energy inside this situation, and how did you use your energy in this situation to manifest whatever you received in your relationship, right? It was a fight, it was you broke up, he left you, or something. Like, let's see what exactly you did and said, and what was the energy behind it, not connected to cultural values or moral values. He's bastard, bad guy. Let's see what you did to create that for yourself, that experience for yourself. Forget about the guy. There can be another guy, then another guy comes and does the same thing.
Yeah.
But why? That guy doesn't know another guy at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't like they planned this. No.
So that's the pattern that we have, certain energetic pattern that we keep attracting, and then it can be translated in many different,
You see perceptions. Interesting you were mentioning this, because I've had this experience, and I'm sure other people have. If somebody has a strong perception of who you are, okay, even though you're much freer than that, it's pretty hard if you hang around that person to not end up bending into that perception that they perceive you as, right? Because it's like a strong perception. Now, why I use the word, bastard there, is because I have been involved in my life, in my past, with men haters. I mean, they just despise men, right? Deep down, they want to do things. They want to really hurt men. And I've experienced that, where you be whatever it is, you just be the light and be love, right? And all of a sudden there's this manipulation and attack you'll end up becoming that personality, if you're not aware, that they see, right? And don't get me wrong, I know it's even for women with men, that they have a strong perception of what a woman is. And you're talking about, let's go beyond these perceptions. Let's go beyond what we've been taught and what this deep core stuff is about men and women, and come back to the divine. Come back to what this really is.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fight it at the time. Not that you need to fight it. You just need to, sometimes you just need to walk away. And that's what I did. I just and I walked away from it, because it was like, there was no winning, because there was only one perception, right?
This is a very, very important piece here, and something came to my mind right now. So sometimes, like many times actually, I work with toxic relationship patterns. It's one of my niche that I found that is very, very powerful, and most people struggling all their life and they can't get out of it. They just keep repeating. So it's very strong energetic pattern that needs to be transformed on a different level, not on the layer of these cultural beliefs, for sure. So what happens many times, that's, for example, because I work with women, I say women, okay, that's just an example. The same can be for men, like sides the same. So a woman, for example, she has certain pattern of relating to man, and they're connected with her previous experiences, maybe generational information, right? Genetic, collected from her parents, and then also from whatever she believes, whatever she made some conclusions, also kind of that were translated to the energy and created certain pattern. So she attracts man. She meets one man, and she meets another man, third man, and what she does subconsciously, even if that man is not very similar to the previous boyfriend, right? she's trying to actually to replay that pattern with each partner subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
So she's challenging him on the energetic level to make him behave the way she expects, to confirm her belief system.
Yeah.
Like this internal, it's in the area of the unconscious beliefs. Like she says she wants different things, but she behaves, and her energy manifests what she believes. So she believes the men are bastards. So every man comes into her life is a bastard. Even the same man will go and have a relationship with another woman, and he can create happy family with her because she doesn't have energetic pattern.
Spiritual upliftment, all of it, right? Yeah.
So this is how we create. We actually force our partners to prove that our pattern is right, that our belief deep inside, I knew that. You know, like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I share with people, I say, you get to be right all the time, but it's what do you want to be right about is the true question.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
Yeah, this is what it's all about, to step out of these beliefs. Like if you want to believe the man bastards, they will be. If you believe every man is cheating, like they will cheat on you, you know. And at the same time, another woman never met a man who cheated on her. So what is the truth? Like we create our own reality, like you say, right?
Exactly.
Your teachings, like this is how we create, because we believe, if I start to believe every man is cheater, I will have lots of cheaters around me. Or like if I believe that they never love me enough, they always abandon me, like abandonment pattern. They will abandon me because deep inside, I know they will abandon me. You know how this, it doesn't matter whether it's negative belief or positive belief. It's like deep inside this fear, this like, you know, it will be manifested. And you know, we talk about law of attraction, but when we need to go deeper into the experience and understand, this is what is going on.
Now imagine, for all you listening, if you shifted that original belief, how transformational that is, to all of a sudden let go of that belief that has been repeating itself, you know, partner after partner after partner, and let it go.
Yeah.
When I see it, it seems to always have to do with the relationship with either mother or father.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yes.
And then something that the child wanted desperately or wanted to do desperately was to heal something, and they'll recreate that in their life over and over again, the same scenarios, so that they can, you know, they can finally get recognized as something a little more than what they were being recognized as, because they wanted that recognition. And so in that blows that, when they can do that for themselves, it blows that belief system completely, pop, right? And then all of a sudden now I've seen it. And so people with a strong, hard belief that all men are, you know, bastards, say, and they go in and they actually take care of that, and it pops and it shifts. It happens now. When it shifts now, all of a sudden they're in a situation where the next person that comes to them is different. And then now we can start to open up. So even though these belief systems, I just want to share with people, even if these belief systems or these patterns have been there for a long time, the root of the pattern can shift, poof, sometimes in a single session. Sometimes it takes a while, but to get to it. But when you get to it and you shift it, that's it. Now all of a sudden, the people that you attract in your life are totally different. And if we get get away from what's been done to us here as far as the separation and come back into our own divine masculine, divine feminine inside, and we make friends there. We become lovers there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's so beautiful.
Then lovers happen out here, lovers or the lover, or however you want to put it, right?
Exactly.
Now you're going to attract people that have that capability or are that already, that are connected to that aspect. And it's a very high spiritual relationship to be able to go inside your partner and float in as the masculine and feel what he feels, and for him to float into you as the divine feminine and feel what you feel, and to understand from that level. It's a different relationship pattern altogether.
Yeah, it's a completely different level of relating, and I wouldn't say it's new. I think it's the old way, like Asian way.
Yeah,
this is who we are. Even this physical body is designed to hold divine consciousness, and we're like totally abusing this body and like not even noticing it's there, because we all like become the thought thing, the mental level. This is where we get stuck.
Talking heads.
We allow ourselves to explore. It's about also giving yourself permission. Like, I allow myself to explore this experience. I allow myself to enjoy it without any judgment. I'm curious about how my partner feels. And sometimes I tell them, okay, before you explore unconditional love, explore this unconditional curiosity. Like, you want to know another person from a very genuine place. That's kind of the first step.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to know. They just want, I want this, I want that, I want him to do this, I want him to do this. I'm writing this long list of qualities what I have, my ideal partner, but it doesn't really help, because it's detached from real, experience, from real.
That long list doesn't help a darn thing. You're absolutely right. And I've seen it so many times. What does help is to go into your heart and feel the person that you want to feel. What do you want to feel with that person?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only. You want to feel joy. You want to feel, you want to feel.
And it's already inside,
you
right?
want to feel attracted. You want to feel, this sort of thing. And because the head thinks in terms that's connected to society, and society expectations, but the heart thinks differently. The heart feels something different. And that's the problem. So when they write down this list and it's all head based, right? It's a long list of disappointments, because they're not manifesting from their heart. How do they want to feel in the arms of this person? Because that feeling is what it is.
It's already inside. It's already happening between inner masculine and inner feminine. This is we can
exactly. What are you going to do with your with your inner masculine or inner feminine with this long list? Late, right? You're already
Check.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's about you loving you. Okay?
Yeah. Everything is inside, and
full stop.
Why is it important to discover the experience of these two lovers, feminine and masculine, inside yourself, and really feel it? Like we have capacity to feel it like it's happening in physical reality, because the truth is there is no physical reality. Everything is here, right? Whatever we experience is real. That's why dreams are so powerful. Sometimes we wake up and we feel, oh my God, this dream was magical, and it feels more real than physical reality and more powerful, because there is no difference between imagination and reality. So once we discover and feel it inside, let's say this love between soulmates, right?
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
it can be manifested, and it can be attracted to that the same energy, like attracts like, right? You say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the trick, but we always forget, like we know it's like, okay, we watch the law of attraction videos and like we know it's here, okay, that, yeah, I see, and then but we don't do it, we don't experience it. That's why it's not happening.
It'll never happen unless you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with this is that people have spent years up there in their head doing this, organizing it, arranging it, doing all of, gotta, right? And you're never going to get it until you feel it. And so it's a heart that sends the pulse out for attraction. Okay. Boom. It's from the heart. So it's about going in and feeling it,
Mm-hmm.
feeling the joy of it. When people have trouble with finances, well, feel the relief of it. Don't feel the problem of finances. Feel the relief of them. Feel the joy of receiving.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, people get their head stuff on the problem, and they'll drown themselves in the problem because
Mm-hmm.
they don't understand they're the ones manifesting it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a little bit of a financial shock. Then all of a sudden they put their awareness on it, which manifests things. They put their awareness on that shock, and they start feeling that shock over and over again. Well, guess what? You might as well, get the bankruptcy papers ready, unless you're ready to change that thought. Because if you're not, that's where you're headed, and you're doing it to yourself. Stop. Shift. What is it you want? What's the relief of it? What if something magical could show up in your life, and you don't know what it is, but anything magical could show up in your life, and all of a sudden that was taken care of, and you could feel the relief? Focus on that,
Exactly.
Focus on the joy of more abundance, that you are joy, that I am magical. You see, and then boom, all of a sudden things shift again, right? They
Mm-hmm.
can't. But again, it's where we're putting our awareness and our train of thought on that's manifesting things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And another thing I want to add to this, like, okay, people do these visualizations, meditations, affirmations. So let's say they have morning routine, they decided to do it. So they sit down for 5 or 10 minutes and meditate abundance, and then finish. Then they go, step out of the door, go to work. They're driving, and they back to the mainstream culture. They're back to the energy field where everybody else lives in fear. And here they are, they're being caught with this thought, oh, but I have some bills to pay, how am I going to make this month? And boom, boom, boom. During the day, they are not in that, they are not in those states where they will believe, where they actually feel this relief of the abundance, right? So
Yeah.
they only spend like 10 minutes and they think they will, and then they say it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. You have to do it all the time. When you drive your car, you imagine yourself that you have $1 million in your account. You drive your car like you have it. Like, how would you drive your car if you have $1 million? Practice this every single moment. Go to work and show up in the office like you have $1 million. Like, when people start to do this, when I started to do this kind of exercise, it completely transformed it. I'm talking differently to people when I know I have it all.
Yes.
My energy changes. People see me differently, and this is when the change starts to happen.
See, the I am statement is so powerful, right? And in doing this, you're changing the I am statement, which is changing your own perception of you. Remember how powerful perceptions were from relationships, right? With a strong, what happens when it's your strong idea of you being broke? Well, if you change the I am statement from I am broke or I am suffering or I am to I am magical, I live in a magical reality. Anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
Things shift because you feel different. And like you're saying, drive the car with that, go to work with that. You know, the boss is nagging on you, like, you know, and doing all that stuff. It's a different feeling when you're magical and you know that right around the corner you're going to have the finances to leave.
Mm-hmm.
That if you don't want to be at that work anymore, you just smile. Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
say in your mind, I'm freer than this. And you start, like you're saying, you start just believing, because in order, Wayne Dyer said this years and years ago. He said, in order to see, you have to believe. Or how did he put it? You need to see in order to believe. That's the main thing out there. Well, when I see it, I'll believe it.
Oh,
But there
yeah.
comes a point, and this is the point, when we're working with magical consciousness and we're shifting it from external perception of everything being the reality to internal being the actual reality, is now you have to believe in order to see.
Mm-hmm.
Now you start playing with your own belief systems. You start playing with your own perceptions and attitudes about life. And the next thing you know, you're going to see something magic. You're going to see the outside world change. And so an affirmation like you're talking about, which is really what ends up happening, people start seeing themselves a different identity of who they are. And they start stepping into that new identity. I am free. I am magical. I am, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of I'm a broke ass, you know?
So the others will see ourselves the way we see ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The others will see us the way we see ourselves. That's a better way to say it. And they will feel the same. So,
I got real life experience if you want to hear about it, because I changed my life that way.
mm-hmm.
When I went through the school system, they thought I was retarded. They were going to send me to a group home.
Really?
And the only thing that changed was my attitude about me inside me. And I made that so strong that I was intelligent, that I was smart, that I was magical. You know, it really hurt me going through the school system and them perceiving me as retarded. They called it back then. Okay, and that I was going to be spoon fed for the rest of my life, and I had to do something about it. I couldn't live that reality out to its end. And I'll say that because I knew that back then when I was a kid. I couldn't live that reality out to its end. That was not my reality. And so I denounced that reality. This is not my reality. I am this. And I started to create that. Okay. So I ended up having to drop out of school and getting away from that perception because it followed me. No matter where I went, it was recorded that I had these problems. And so it was recorded so that if I ended up back in the school system, they ended up taking me down the same path because they got more funding because I was special needs. So it would never leave my books, right?
Mm.
So I ended up having to leave and create my own thing, do my own thing out there in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. And I held that perception of me so that I could look at somebody with a strong perception, right? That I was, you know, they may have looked at my school records or whatever, and seeing that, and I could look at them and I knew I could feel the perception. And when you felt that perception back in the day, when I felt that perception, I would shift into this this weak being, right? And I had to train myself to go and stand there with my own self-image in front of me and stand there and look at them face to face and go, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I love this. Wow.
So that's so that shifted the way that they looked. Like, how come this didn't work? How come the perception of him that I have didn't take him down? How come he's standing there in his own power and saying no? And then from that spanned out to a lot of things that I learned in life about what's going on here in the big wild west of the matrix.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's such a powerful example.
And psychological positioning in the matrix to make people feel less than. And they're doing it to us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we don't have to accept it.
Yeah,
We
we
can
forget
shift
that
back.
we have free will, right?
Yeah.
Like we can say no.
Yes.
No,
No.
me. Maybe,
No. This
you
is what I feel about me. Yeah. Actually, I feel very magical, right?
yeah, you are. You are
Yeah.
magical. And I
But
believe many times people who have special gifts and people who come here to help others, like what we speak about star seeds or more,
oh
gold
yeah.
souls, they actually experience a lot of like complex of non-belonging or like
Mm-hmm.
rejection from the society, like they're outsiders. So they have to go through all these challenges to claim themselves and find their power to be in this reality and say, I'm here, this is my home too, and I came, and that's my offering to the world, what I'm bringing from my reality. That's
I I
amazing.
see it. I work with. I feel like sometimes I'm the welcoming committee, you know, and they come and they talk to me for and right away we get them to the point where they remember who they are, why they came here, what their purpose was, and to get on it and to get going with their mission. And anxieties calm down, all of it calm down, because the reason why they have anxiety is because they know they're off their mission. They're off their reason for being here, right? The reason for being here isn't to do whatever they're doing. The reason for being here is to raise the vibration and help humanity and get into what they're supposed to be doing, right? And so a lot of times it's like, and I'm sure you feel that way too, that you're kind of a welcoming crew for these people coming in that are star seeds and from other planets and other places. And it's like, welcome to planet Earth. Get your head in your ass. It's time to go to work, right? Yes,
Yeah.
you've been suppressed. Yes. Now you're not. Let's go. It's only you that suppressed you now. Let's go. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And see
Yeah.
that shift that happens to people because it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see them step into their power and just go, I remember. I remember why I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. It's remembrance. My breath work is called breath of remembrance because it helps us to remember who we are on a
Good.
very deep level. And it experience. It's like and like and you feel, like it's in your body. It's inside. It's not here. It's just and suddenly you see everything differently and like wow, and then you see how powerful you are. It's like it's
Mhm.
magical. It's magical.
It is. It is. Well, thank you for the show, the interview.
Yes, of course. I'm happy to be here always talking to you.
And just for people that don't know, where can people find you? What's your website?
You can find me on my website, lanaelcocoaching.com. And of course, on all social media
And you
Facebook,
can,
YouTube,
yes.
Lana
And
Elco.
upcoming events. You have upcoming trainings and coaching, personal sessions.
Yes, now I'm launching my 1-year program, working with women on empowerment beforehand and relationship. Like many women come to do this work because of relationship, but they end up doing lots of inner work as well, because it's, like we discussed, it comes from within. So I'm launching this 1-year program for the most committed and passionate women who really ready to step forward and to create this transformation we've been talking about, and to receive this support through the whole year, because we are connected with nature, with the cycles of times. And the feminine energy is all about cycles of times. It's not about linear chronological time. We've talked about it, I remember as well. So it's very helpful to go through the whole cycle of the year to receive support. And it's like 3 stages. It's my program, we go through the 3 stages. The first one is healing. So we're clearing all this bullshit that we have inside, like clearing our container, letting go of everything that doesn't serve us, all these beliefs, all these values. So we become really pure and coming back to our initial innocence. And then we create a new foundation from the authentic place, from who we are, of new beliefs, new, values. Stepping in the power. This is the transformational phase. And then empowerment, it's like going and live it. Go and live it in your everyday life, field work. And that's the 3rd stage. So we have to go through these 3 stages to become independent. So at the end, the goal is to become completely free, authority free, independent, and always connected with the divine.
Nice. Nice.
And manifest, and then you can manifest the relationship, you can manifest money. So it's like some people come for a relationship and then they start to manifest more money. They start to discover the soul purpose. So it's all connected.
It is. A while back when we were talking, I was going to mention that because some people are afraid, that they say that there's really only 2 real fears in humanity. And the one is that the unconditional relationship, the true relationship, they're scared to death of it. And they're scared to death of true enlightenment, true awakening. And both of them are actually the same thing.
Yeah.
Because the relationship you find inside you, your divine relationship, is the very thing that they're scared of. That's what they're avoiding by doing all of this stuff. And that same relationship ends up being your enlightenment, right? And so it's time to call the bluff and face our fear and step into it, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. This is the best time to do it. And the reason is because it's also happening in the collective field. The collective field is shifting. Yes, we didn't reach, the majority of the mainstream culture didn't change. And there is some kind of agony that we experience, like, on the collective, there was shooting, the Trump president, kind of little judgment here. But I see it as an agony of the old system, because it doesn't want to die. It wants to keep living this way. But it's time.
It's done.
It's inevitable. The change is inevitable. And it's when we choose transformation and let go, it's less pain. If we want to stay in the old beliefs.
Let go is the key thing. Don't fight it. Don't fight with it. Just let go and step into the new paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as you fight, it's a trick to get you back into it again.
Yeah. Non-reaction.
Non-reaction and just create, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people can reach me at DwaineHartman.com, and I offer all kinds of sessions as far as moving from any point A to point B, stuck state to freedom. You've experienced the sessions back when, and also I do programs, Remove the Critic, the Magical Inner Child. It's to get to know that part of you that came in here already knowing, and I do the 2-day Feel the Magic event and the 5-day Be the Magic, which is a training program. But feel the magic. I'm going around doing that, and I just got back from Greece doing that a little while ago, and look forward to doing more of them here in Canada. And maybe there's something brewing with you and I doing something. Huh?
Yeah, it feels really right, and I believe it will happen. We'll manifest that. And I actually wanted to share my experience with working with Dwaine. When I was going through a very challenging period of time, my life, my personal life, and my work life, everything, Dwaine was the one for me to support me, and I had never had anything better than that. So that was support on a different level and exactly what I needed. And I managed to break through that period of time, those challenges that I had. And I'm really thankful and very, from my heart, really grateful to Dwaine to give me this support. So never hesitate. He's a person who can help you to live in a magical world, can help you to create your own magical reality.
Thank you. And it's an honor to know you as well. And I really respect what you're doing and the work that you're doing for women. And I also commend you on your work and tell people, go see her. Get it done. Get into it. Feel it. She knows what she's doing.
Thank you, Dwaine. I really appreciate that.
So thank you for the time together. I guess we better go. Is there anything else you want to say?
Trust your divine. Trust yourself. That's the only thing to trust.
Exactly. This is the time where we step into the divine. And if you need help doing that, come see either one of us. And because it's time. We're going to go through a shift here. And we need to be in our own divine energy. So thank you.
Thank you, Dwaine.
Blessings.
Blessings to you.
And we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.